Anyone have Marie Haley's number? I don't think so.
Surprised if you have her number. The first person to give me her number.
Doug Johnson, if you're here, Doug Johnson, you have your glasses. Spin it in.
Like taking admin anytime. Yeah. We did it last night, which in retrospect, it's probably why my legs are really. Yeah, it is fun. Like it's something you do every week.
Well, welcome everybody. We got a bunch of things for you tonight. And first I'll give you a preview of my NPR puzzle tomorrow. And here you go. Every answer is a word in which the only consonants are R and T, repeated as often as necessary. All the other letters are vowels. The letter Y is not used. For example, if I said characteristic, you would say trait. Okay. Since you guys are so smart, I'm just going to give you one word at a time in the clue. So if you know it before you hear the end of the clue, just yell out the answer. Here's number one. Common. Trout is correct. The full clue was common fish and streams.
But what took you so long? Number two. Participant. In a civil disturbance. Rioter is correct. For those who had another answer, hold that thought. Extreme fright. Terror is correct. Kind of sauce. For seafood is tartar. Turn as wheels is rotate. Means for connecting to the internet is a router is correct. Grand speaker is orator. I heard it here. Remember, there's no Y. Tenacious. Tenacious dog is a terrier, correct? Turncoat. Everyone said in unison. Getaway. For meditation or study is a retreat. Harness. Racer. Trotter is correct. A harness racer is a trotter. Country. On the Horn of Africa is Eritrea. Person. Who does. Body. Art is a tattooer, is correct. Annoy. Irritate. And that was the entire clue. Sealed. Glass. Sealed glass containers with soil and plants or terraria is correct. Large. Musical. Composition for orchestra and a choir is an oratorio. Say. Again. Reiterate is right. Italian. You were just waiting on that. Rapid.
Rat-a-tat.
Knocking sound, hyphenated, is rat-a-tat. Sorry, it's rat-a-tat-tat. Seesaw. Teeter-totter is it? Yeah, that's the entire clue. Okay, those are the ones that I had prepared for the radio. Now, here are some phrases that I didn't get to use. So every answer is a phrase of 2 or more words of varying lengths, and we will start with bring forward.
Carry over.
For, what did you say? Trot out. Bring forward for display is to trot out. Poop. Poop is to tire out, that's correct. Small. First word is small. Frozen. Spud is a tater tot. Part of the head that catches sound waves is an outer ear, is correct.
Outer ear.
Complete.
Utter.
Well, it's always a phrase, but you're utter rot. Complete nonsense is utter rot. Percentage of mistakes. Error rate was my answer. Way for a car to get from here to there is an auto route. And here's your last one. I'm just going to give you the first thing. I'm expecting you to get this from the start. 1970. 1970. What'd you say? Tora, Tora, Tora is correct. 1970 epic war film depicting the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. All right, now here's the first game tonight. Is called True False Wordplay. Here's how it works. In a moment, I'm going to ask everyone to stand. I'm going to give you a question involving words, usually wordplay, and you will decide true or false. And you will announce, when I ask you to say, you'll say true or false. And if you're correct, you will remain standing. If you are not correct, you will sit down. And so here we go. Will everyone stand up? Here you go, your first statement. Your first statement, Sequoia, S-E-Q-U-O-I-A. Sequoia is the only common 7-letter word in English that uses all 5 vowels, A-E-I-O-N-U. True or false? So think about it. Let's think about it for a moment. Sequoia is the only common 7-letter word in English that uses all 5 vowels, A-E-I-O-N-U. I'll give you a moment to think about it. Don't say it out loud yet. Okay, everyone say. True. I believe the answer is true. And if you think it's false, I want to hear your other common English word. And I emphasize common, yes. Don't worry, we're going to have other rounds, but here we have a group standing, and here's your second question. What's that? What's your answer? I know, yeah, M-I-O-U-A-E-D, right. Okay, I said common. Really? Huh. Well, if you say it's common in England, then okay, and you're British, then you can continue to stand. He is not British, though, so he remains seated. Here's your next one for those standing, but everyone else can think along, play along, but you'll get to do another round. Obama, O-B-A-M-A, Obama is the only U.S. president whose last name ends in a vowel other than E or Y. Think about that. Obama is the only U.S. president whose last name ends in a vowel other than E or Y. Is everyone ready? Say your answer. The answer is true. Here's next. 7 of the 8 most popular baby girl names in the U.S. in 2022 end in the letter A. 7 of the 8 most popular baby girl names in the U.S. in 2022 end in the letter A. So think about that for a second. All right, if you're ready, say true or false. It is true. Amazingly, Olivia, Emma, Amelia, Ava, Sophia, Isabella, and Mia. Does anyone know the only odd one out? It's Charlotte. Okay, we're working the crowd down here. Here's your next one. Among the 10 most popular baby boy names in the U.S. in 2022, James is the only one that has just one syllable. Among the 10 most popular baby boy names in the U.S. in 2022, James is the only one that has just one syllable. Okay, true or false? True. The answer is true. Jack is number 11. That was the next. What do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we got about, I don't know, a dozen or so. Here's your next one.
What were the names of the boy list that you shot at?
I didn't write down the boy's name, sorry. Here's your next one. Ireland and Iceland are the only countries whose names differ by only one letter in the same position. Just keep. Ireland and Iceland are the only countries whose names differ by only one letter in the same position. Everyone ready? True or false? False. Why? Iran and Iraq is. So if you said true, did anyone say true on that? All right. I fooled. Oh, Gambia and Zambia. Interesting. I didn't even think of that. Okay. But the answer was still false. Here's your next one. Asia. Asia is the most common 4-letter geographical name in the New York Times crossword. Asia is the most common 4-letter geographical name in the New York Times crossword. Think about that. Okay, yell it out, true or false? The answer is indeed false. Do you know what the first is? Oh, you guys are good. Yes, Erie. Erie is first with, so far, as of today, 454 appearances. Asia is second with 306, followed by Etna and Oslo. Didn't fool anyone that round. Here's your next one. Switzerland. Switzerland is the only European country with a Z in its name, or for our English guests, Z. In fact, for our Canadian guests too. So once more, Switzerland is the only European country with a Z in its name. Okay, yell it out, true or false? False, and it is indeed false because it's Czech Republic or Czechia, as they say now, so it is false. I think Azerbaijan's in Asia. Yeah. How many people are still standing? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I think. Here's your next one. There is no word longer than 7 letters on a U.S. penny. There is no word longer than 7 letters on a U.S. penny. Don't, if you're sitting, just nudge your, but don't say anything out loud. Okay, true or false? There's no word longer than 7 letters in a U.S. penny. True or false?
True.
The answer is false. Pluribus is on the U.S. penny. What do we have left? He's just, so we have, what, 3 people? We have 4. We have 5 people standing. The name of every element on the periodic table contains at least one of the letters in liner, L-I-N-E-R. The name of every element on the periodic table contains at least one of the letters in liner, L-I-N-E-R. Okay, let's hear it. True or false? It is true. Okay, who's left? Just one? All right, well, you're co-winners, and we'll do a new round. Come on. We got puzzle books for you later. Let's do another round. Everyone stand up. Here you go. The word aisle, A-I-S-L-E, has 3 silent letters, A, S, and E. There is no common English word that has 4 silent letters. The word aisle has 3 silent letters, A, S, and E. There is no common English word that has 4 silent letters. On your mark, get set. Answers? False. It is false because of Q, Q-U-E-U-E. So if you said true, I'm afraid you have to sit down. I didn't fool many people on that one. Here's your next one. There is no common English word that has the same cryptogram pattern as alfalfa. A-L-F-A-L-F-A. There is no common English word that has the same cryptogram pattern as alfalfa. So, explain that. So, in a cryptogram, if the letter B represents L in one word, then it will represent L throughout the cryptogram. So there is no other word in English that has the same pattern as alfalfa. In other words, the same letters, the 1st, 4th, and 7th positions, and also the 2nd and 5th, and the 3rd and 6th. Okay, that's clear to everybody. Let's hear your answers. True or false? False. It is false because entente, E-N-T, eat, has the same pattern. So if you said true on that, I'm afraid you have to sit down. Here's your next one. Topeka, Kansas is the only state capital in which the last 2 letters of the capital's name are the first 2 letters of its state. With apologies to our British contestants, Topeka, Kansas is the only state capital in which the last 2 letters of the capital's name are the first 2 letters of its state. Say it out loud. True or false? False. It is true. All right, getting down. Here's your next one. The names of 3 U.S. states end in the letter I. The names of 3 U.S. states end in the letter I. The question is true or false. The names of 3 U.S. states end in the letter I. True or false? False. It is true. Amazingly, Hawaii, Mississippi, and Missouri. Here's your next one. For years, the word set, S-E-T, had the most definitions in the Oxford English Dictionary. But recently, that record was overtaken by run. For years, the word set had the most definitions in the Oxford English Dictionary, but recently that record was overtaken by run. True or false? Say it out loud. It is true. Set has 430 definitions, but run is now at 645. Go is third with. All right, who do we have left here? Oh, we've got I don't know, about 8 people left. Here's your next one. Rotator, R-O-T-A-T-O-R, gets more hits on Google than any other 7-letter palindromic word. Rotator gets more hits on Google than any other 7-letter palindromic word. Okay, let's hear it. True or false? It is true. Nothing else is close. Rotator has 92.5 million. I believe Race Car is second with 9.3 million, and Deified has 8.5 million. I think I fooled just about everybody. Who's left? 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 1, yeah. 2, 3. You're both standing. 2, 3. 4, 5. So we need another question here. After S, the letter C has the most pages in the dictionary. After S, the letter C has the most pages in the dictionary. Any dictionary. I checked them all. Okay, true or false? It is true. S in the Merriam-Webster's 11th Collegiate has 177 pages. C is next with 143. P is third with 135, so it's true. Who's left? 1, 2, 3. Just 3 people. 4? Well, we'll have to do another question then. No common English word starts with a silent D. D as in dog. No common English word starts with a silent D. Okay, let's hear it. You're true or false? It is true. Gin. Gin common. Okay, we'll throw that out. I'm not sure. I'm not sure gin with that spelling is common. Okay, we will eliminate that question. So how many people? We have 4 players left, is that right? We're not counting that last one. I think we have 4 players. Here you go. More than half of the words in the first verse of the Star-Spangled Banner have fewer than 4 letters. More than half of the words in the first verse of the Star-Spangled Banner have fewer than 4 letters. All right, I'm going to ask each of you individually. What's your answer? False. You say false. False. And, okay, has everyone said false? Who's standing?
We're back there. Will, back there. We got a true back there.
Gotcha. We have 3 falses and 1 true. It is false. Although it's close, there are 37 short words like that versus 42 of 4 or more letters. So we're down to 3 players? Just 2. Okay, you guys are both champions. We'll have 1 more round. Here we go. Aha. Yeah, that's the thing. Okay, I think I'm running out of questions for a whole round, but I wonder if I repeat questions if you remember the answer. but we'll see how far we go here. In Russian, Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin can be anagrammed to Nesuchchi Tmu I Razrishchinya, which means bringer of darkness and destruction. In Russian, Vladimirovich Putin can be anagrammed to Nesuchchi Tmu I Razrishchinya, which means bringer of darkness and destruction. True or false? I'm sorry, I just made that up. It is false. Oh, that's hilarious. Oh, that was so believable.
What was your Russian accent?
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I got more than half of you on that one. In the NBA, NFL, and Major League Baseball, exactly 4 teams in each organization have names in which the team and its home have the same first letter, like C of Chicago Cubs. Both Chicago and Cubs start with C. So once more, in the NBA, NFL, and Major League Baseball, exactly 4 teams in each organization have names in which the team and its home have the same first letter. Say it out loud, true or false? Amazingly, it is true. Why is that? And the NHL is very close. There's 3, exactly 3. I couldn't add NHL. All right. I think I have only 3 more questions, so we won't quite reach the end. Try this. No common uncapitalized word can be spelled by arranging the 7 most common letters in the English alphabet, E, T, A, I, O, N, and S. Those are the 7 most common letters in the English language. No common uncapitalized word can be spelled by arranging the 7 most common letters in the English alphabet. They are E, T, A, I, O, N, and S. You cannot make a common English word out of those. True or false? It is true. You can make Estonia, but there's no uncapitalized word. So that is true. Okay, we're down to our last 2 questions. Among U.S. cities and towns with a population of at least 10,000, not one has a 3-letter name. Among the U.S. cities and towns with a population of at least 10,000, not one has a 3-letter name. Okay, say it out loud, true or false? False. It is indeed false because? Yeah, there's so many New Yorkers here. Yeah, Rye, New York. Amazingly, there is Rye, New York has 15,000. There is a city in Utah that has 40,000. I did not know. It's Roy. Anyone know Roy, Utah? It's huge. Okay. Those are the only ones. Here's your last one. I'm afraid I won't have prizes for everyone who remains standing, but here you go. The first letters of the 10 Canadian provinces can be arranged to spell ban on spam plus Q. The first letters of the 10 Canadian provinces can be arranged to spell ban on spam plus Q. True or false? Let's hear it. It is false. It needs another N in place of an A. Okay, Canadian players, how did you do? Did you get that?
I got that one right.
You got that one right, okay. All right. So there you go. All of you this time are remaining standing are champions. And our next game for this night is Bar Trivia with Trivia Master Stan Newman. Do you need help of any sort?
I don't think.
Okay, but you
paper?
should stand in front.
Oh, okay.
Stand in front of the camera.
Is my amplification working?
Right here. Here.
Oh.
So this is for the live stream. This is for the room.
Oh,
Put that in your pocket.
okay.
There you go.
Good evening, Quizzer fans. I am here to present bar trivia at Will's request. Let's go over the basic bar trivia rules, which I'm very familiar with. I do have a weekly trivia at bars. So, no shouting out of answers. No cell phones. You may form teams of from 3 to 5 players, although I won't object to more. No cell phones. You will be disqualified, castigated, and yes, thank you, and vilified. And no front loading, by which I mean no more than one A contestant on any team. So, have you already formed your teams? Are you in place? Are you ready to play? All right, while you are doing that, I believe you will need to have something to write on, a divider, a piece of paper, your t-shirt, anything. The way it will work, I will be reading a highly miscellaneous series of questions, just like in bar trivia. You can't hear me? You mean mezzo forte isn't loud enough? Well, in that case, how's this, boys and girls? Okay. Highly miscellaneous set of questions. Many of them are easy, at least a few of them are hard. Each question getting answered correctly will earn you 1 point. With the exception of the next to the last question, there will be a bonus point possibility. A brief word about the questions themselves. They are highly miscellaneous. All sorts of topics are covered. However, I should tell you there is a little extra commonality that you might not expect amongst every one of the questions and answers. It's not meant to be hidden for very long. I'm going to give you some highly obvious hints, starting with question 1, which may in fact be of use to you in figuring out some of the answers that come later on. And as an initial hint, Will's instructions to me were simply to assemble a bar trivia game. Everybody now got their teams and got something to write on and understand the rules. Someone nearby need to borrow paper? Write on the tablecloth. I mean, who's gonna know? I am ready to begin. Good luck to you all. Will, I believe there will be prizes for the winning team or teams. There will be a tiebreaker question at the end of a numerical nature to break any ties that may occur. Will has said you will be on the honor system for grading your own papers as to the number of correct answers. And no, Will does not know any of the questions.
How many questions are there?
That depends on when Will cuts me off. Let's begin, and listen carefully for the hint in question 1. Who composed the 1816 opera, The Barber of Seville? and you may have a few moments to discuss it. We hope you've got one expert in each of the topics we're talking about. And by the way, while you're thinking about it, unlike my mean crosswords that some of you may be familiar with, I have gone to great pains to avoid ambiguity, deliberate misdirection. I have edited the wording of these questions several times so that I'm clearly asking the questions as clearly as I can. All right, you've written down your answer or left it blank. Let's move on. Question 2. What 7-letter word for a tart tasting vegetable, also a popular British pie filling, is also a slang term for a quarrel? Shh. Well, it looks like many of you have caught on already as to the kind of bar trivia quiz that I've written. I started out thinking of, how do I assemble my favorite trivia questions? I've got so many, and it occurred to me to twist it the way I twist some of my puzzle themes, etc. I said, Will, can I do it this way? And Will said, sure. And the quiz wrote itself in less than 2 hours. Why? Because I've got all this stuff in my head, and these words have made me think immediately of questions. That's how I did it. All right, you've got your answer, I hope. I couldn't have made it easier for that word than I did. All right, question 3. This one is a little harder, and the harder ones are not together. Created Baron by Queen Victoria in 1892, who was the first British scientist to become a member of the House of Lords. Small hint, this man was known by 2 different names. Either one is an acceptable answer. I'll repeat it. Some of them will require repetition. Some of them are complicated. Created a baron by Queen Victoria in 1892, who was the first British scientist to become a member of the House of Lords. This man was known by 2 different names. Either one is an acceptable answer. This is a hard question, but those of you who are aware of science history have a good chance to get it. All right, think of an answer, write it down, and we will move on. Question, anybody think they know the answer to that? Raise your hand just for my curiosity. Good. I was hoping there'd be, none of these will shut you all out. I don't hope so. Hope not. Question 4. Just in case it's not obvious to everyone what this bar trivia is going to be about, in what year were the Summer Olympics held in Barcelona, Spain? Got it now, class? I hope so. Some are in the clues, some are in the answers. Have you noticed that? Is it possible some are in both? You'll have to wait and see. All right, you came up with an answer. May we move on, please? Question 5. All you literature fans. The meeting place in what very famous and very long work of fiction is the Tabard Inn, T-A-B-A-R-D, space I-N-N. Yes, I will always repeat, don't stop me if I don't. The meeting place in what very famous and very long work of fiction is the Tabard Inn, T-A-B-A-R-D-I-N-N. That's a medium level difficulty question. I could have put a couple of extra words to make it easier, but I chose not to. All right, I'm moving on to 6. This is not an easy question. You get props from me for any team that can get it right. This is a sports question of a sort. Who is the only 20th century commissioner of one of the 4 major American professional team sports, born with the first name of Angelo, A-N-G-E-L-O. Guess where the bar is in this question? Anybody got it? Just for my, good for you. It's an easier question. If no other reason, the last word is a kind of hint as to the person's nationality. I'll repeat. Who? Is whom correct? Who is the only 20th century commissioner of one of the 4 major American professional team sports, born with the first name of Angelo? A last name will be sufficient if you got the last name. Good for you. Well, you already know where the bar is, and I'm moving on to question 7. Do you not want to hear the bar mezzo forte, fortissimo from now on? Okay, you've all got it. Okay. To a physicist, there's another science. The crowbar is classified as what type of simple machine? Yes. To a physicist, the crowbar is classified as what type of simple machine? That's not meant to be a difficult question, boys and girls. Question 8. Suppose we call this recreation combined with British English. Recreation sort of combined with British English. British children often play on a piece of equipment called a climbing frame. What do American children call it when they're not calling it a jungle gym? Not meant to be a hard question. I've given you all sorts of information in that one. Shall I read it again, or you got it all right? Okay, we move on. Question 9. One of my most favorite Americans from American history. What was the first name? Okay, in Will Short style. What was the first name of Showman P. T. Barnum? Well done. You don't mind me copying that, the Shorts method, do you, Will? I don't see any objection. Yeah, but with permission. If you're not familiar with the guy's biography, read the Wikipedia article at least. The man was quite the amazing fellow. Does that need to be repeated? Question 10. Animals is the category. With an average adult weight of about 100 pounds, what is the largest living species of rodent? Medium difficulty. If you don't know it, you're going to have trouble. It's not the mouse. Little audience buzz, I like that. You need it repeated? I don't think so. Let's move on. Question 11. A rather difficult geography question. In what Asian country can you visit the Malabar coast? That's M-A-L-A, yes, B-A-R. In what Asian country can you visit the Malabar coast? All right, can I move on? Question 12. Now, if you don't know the answer, there is something about the way I've worded it to give you a pretty big hint, so just be aware. The last name of what Pro Sports Hall of Famer is Arabic for servant of the mighty. I will repeat that. The last name of what Pro Sports Hall of Famer is Arabic for servant of the mighty. Remembering the theme of this game should help you a great deal. Now, there are a couple of wordplay questions, nothing that Will has asked you already. Number 13 is the first of several. What is the only common, uncapitalized, 9-letter word? You will want to write this down. That is an anagram of the word bargained. I will spell that in case there's any doubt. B-A-R-G-A-I-N-E-D. I will repeat. What is the only common capitalized 9-letter word? Uncapitalized, thank you. Don't listen to me. That is an anagram of bargained. Now, I'm going to give you a hint because I'm a benevolent questioner. This is maybe the only question where there's bar in the question and the answer. Save your applause till the end. Now, this next 14 is the longest question, another wordplay of a very different sort. Maybe one of you know it, but I hope I've given you enough information that more than one of you will figure it out. Listen carefully, and I will repeat it, and I will read it very slowly. What two-word term for a hulled, H-U-L-L-E-D, grain product, a common ingredient in soups and stews, differs by only a single letter from the two-word name of the African-American singer and actress who received a special Tony Award for her title role in the all-black production of Hello, Dolly. I will repeat it just as slowly. This is a rather hard question, I admit, but if you know the second half, you should be able to. I got an applause. Maybe one person knows in the back. What two-word term for a hulled grain product, a common ingredient, and any cooks in the audience should nod their heads that yes, a common ingredient in soups and stews, differs by just a single letter from the two-word name of the African-American singer and actress who received a special Tony Award for her title role in the all-black production of Hello, Dolly. You know, good for you. Any of you others thought of it? It was meant to be a hard question, quite a few. It's easy if you know it. The only hard ones are the ones you don't know. You know that. All right. Here is a New York Times crossword question of a sort. Once, a common New York Times crossword clue for or, O-R-E, under the editorship of Will's predecessor, whose name I shall not mention. Cinnabar, C-I-N-N-A-B-A-R, where what cinnabar is used for was never mentioned in a New York Times clue, so I'm mentioning it now. Cinnabar is the most common ore used in the refining of what metallic element? That's a hard question. Anybody here know that? Good for you. A few. Good. What a crowd. This is good. I don't want to stump the whole crowd with any of them. I shall repeat. Once, a common New York Times crossword clue for or. By the way, that same predecessor used mispickle, M-I-S-P-E-K-E-L. That's an or too. I don't remember what that's an or of. This was what, well, never mind. I've said all I'm going to say about him. Cinnabar, C-I-N-N-A-B-A-R, is the most common ore used for the refining of what metallic element? Guess an element, okay? It doesn't have B-A-R in it. That'll help you figure it out, right? Number 16. What word for a type of crew person on a warplane, when capitalized, is the surname of the Canadian who invented the snowmobile? I'll bet you there's a couple of people who know. Anybody know the answer to that? Come on, they know it. This is a word you've heard of, I guarantee it. What You want to know how many letters in the name? Yeah, I'll tell you. Nah, some of you know it already. That's what I'm going to tell. Here it is. What word for a type of crew person on a warplane, a word you all know, when capitalized, is the surname of the Canadian who invented the snowmobile? Think of what the theme of the game is. I don't have to beat you over the head when there's no bar in the question, right? Buzzing, okay, you don't like that one. Maybe you'll like this one better, maybe not. Another literature question. Let's hear it for literature. Thank you. What is the non-military employer of the title character? Again, shout out the end of the question as soon as you think you know. Of George Bernard Shaw's play Major Barbara. 2 bars in that one. I shall repeat. Yes. What is the, I put the word non-military to help you as much as I could. What is the non-military employer of the title character of George Bernard Shaw's play Major Barbara? This is one you can guess, by the way, from the way I've worded the question. You have to ask yourself, what non-military organization has majors? And if you can answer that question, you've got the answer. Number 18, movies. Yay! What is the surname of Kevin Costner's character in the film Dances with Wolves? I hear somebody, I know I'm reading lips, and at least one person in front knows it. Shall repeat. What? Cell phone, cell phone, cell phone, cell phone. Sure. All right, moving on, question 19. And I don't know, if Will's going to let me get to 26 in the tiebreaker, then that's how many questions there are. The answer to this question is another of my most beloved American originals. P.T. Barnum was an original for sure. This guy would qualify. Who was the first person to provide the voice of Barney Rubble for the Flintstones? The man has more IMDb credits than anyone else, over 1,000. Shall I repeat, or you all know the answer to that one? American original, what a guy. Question 20, category American business. A little bit of everything, I promised. I hope, I beg your pardon? Who was the first to provide, question, what is the surname? I'll be glad to repeat anything particular if Will gives me the permission. What is the what is the surname of Kevin Costner's character in Dances with Wolves? All right, 20 is American business category. The corporate name of what national restaurant chain includes the phrase old country store? It is in more than 40 states, not quite 50, so it should be, the name should be familiar to all of you. Remember the category of this game. Oddly enough, 21 and 22 are both San Francisco questions. A coincidence, therefore I put them both together. There are going to be at least a few of you from the Bay Area, right? You're going to have no trouble with either of these. An advantage to you. many non-San Franciscans are going to know this one. I think the second one is harder. You'll be the judge. I'll only read this one. I bet you don't shut out the answer. What San Francisco thoroughfare claims the title as the world's most crooked street? A little faster. What San Francisco thoroughfare claims the title as the world's most crooked street? Somebody, okay, shall I move on? 22. Speaking, yeah, say again? That was 21. You can't fool me. I'm holding, and I majored in mathematics. It doesn't come up that often, but I have numbered the questions correctly. Okay, so far. 22. Speaking of San Francisco, in what neighborhood will you find the Hyatt Regency San Francisco? A little harder, but Bay Area people are going to have an easier time with that one. Do I need to repeat that? I don't hear a yes, so I'm going to move on. Question 23. Sports. What boxing great used his first and middle names as his professional name, omitting the surname he was born with? Barrow, B-A-R-R-O-W. I will say it again. Of course. What boxing great used his first and middle names as his professional name, omitting the surname he was born with? Barrow, B-A-R-R-O-W. Question 24, I think a lot easier. World geography is the category. What is the Caribbean island partner of Antigua in a United Nations member nation? What is the Caribbean island partner of Antigua in a United Nations member nation? Number 25, the penultimate question, not counting, yay! Not counting the tiebreaker. Classical music, one area of great love for me. What was the native country of classical composer Bela Bartok? What was the native country of classical composer Bela Bartok? Not that you need a hint, but if you can think of any other famous Belas, and I can think of one, he's from the same country. Bela is native to that country. Spelled with one L, of course, not two. Question 26. This is your opportunity for a bonus. If this were Final Jeopardy, the category would certainly be U.S. Vice Presidents. Is this the hardest question? Maybe. You be the judge. Name either of the two men to have served as Vice President of the United States whose surname includes the consecutive letters B-A-R. And you can get 5, count them, 5 bonus points if you can name them both. I believe one is easier than the other in terms of when he served. I think the other one is pretty darn hard, and you deserve props and my grand respect. Anybody can come up with the other one. Last name, first names do not count. Repeat, of course. Name either of the two men who have served as Vice President of the United States, whose surname contains the consecutive letters B, A, R. 5 bonus points are available on the somewhat unlikely chance that anyone knows the lesser. I think virtually everyone who gets this right will know the more recent person. Gosh, man, that doesn't give anything away, does it? All right, and finally, for now, and we will review the answers so you can check yourself. This is, to break ties, a numerical question that I dare say none of you will know the answer to, but perhaps make a good guess. That's always the purpose of trivia numerical tiebreakers. Now, again, you should applaud if anybody, as soon as you can chart out the last 2 words of this question based upon my slow reading of it. How many certified gold albums are credited to, I heard it, Barbra Streisand is correct. There are not 2 Barbaras in there. She was born with 2 bars and she got rid of an A. So it's Barbra Streisand. Take your good guess. Yes? To the tiebreaker question, write down your best guess as a numerical answer. How many certified gold, and I believe it's 500,000 sales or more, platinum is 1 million, isn't it? Any of you music people? Oh, okay. And this is US only, Recording Industry Association of America, if you want me to be more specific. How many certified gold albums are credited to Barbra Streisand? Write down a number. All right? Nobody needs me to read another question, right? You got your answers such as they are. All right, Will, should I read the question again or just read the answers? All right, I will condense the questions. Here we go. Mark your paper, please, right or wrong. Keep track of the number of right answers. The total, of course, will be important with the possibility. Any of you think you've written both vice presidents' names down? Well, okay, if you got it right, you will impress me. I hope the rest of the audience will be impressed as well. We'll get to that. The composer of The Barber of Seville, Gioacchino Rossini, is correct. Question 2, the vegetable in question, I could not have written an easier clue, I hope. The answer is rhubarb. Question 3, that barren scientist, you want to show off? Go ahead. Lord Kelvin is correct. His birth of temperature scale fame, born William Thomson. Anybody write William Thomson down? Extra props for you. Question 4, 1992 was the Barcelona Olympics. Question 5, the Tabard Inn figures prominently in the Canterbury Tales. The 1980s Commissioner of Baseball, most remembered for banning Pete Rose for betting on baseball, was Angelo, AKA A. Bartlett Giamatti. I hear some cheering. Good. More people got that right than I might have expected. Question 7. In science, a crowbar is classified as a lever. That's the answer. Question 8. A climbing frame. I had to eliminate Jungle Gym. I didn't want you to write that down. Monkey bars is the answer. And Mr. Barnum was born Phineas Taylor Barnum. Spelling does not count. Question 10. The largest living species of rodent is the capybara. A lot of people got that right. That's good. All right, I want to know, I think 11 was one of the hardest ones. The Malabar coast is the western coast of India. There's one who got it right. 2. Congratulations. I gave you all the help I could in the Arabic name for servant of the mighty is Abdul Jabbar. The only common anagram of bargained is gabardine. The 2-word phrases, how many of you think you got that one right? Will, you should be ashamed. Pearl Barley and Pearl Bailey. Cinnabar, I had to look this up. I must admit I didn't know. Cinnabar is an ore, contradictorily sounding as it is, of mercury. It is not liquid in ore form. Any of you get that? The scientists in the audience, good for you, or if you've looked it up out of curiosity 40 years ago when it was in the Times. It's been, all right, moving on. A crew person on a warplane, a Canadian who invented the snowmobile, whose name lives on as the brand name of subway cars, among other things, is Bombardier. Quite right if you're Canadian. Bombardier. C'est dommage. What a shame. What a shame. The non-military employer in Major Barbara's title character, who is a woman named Barbara, is the Salvation Army. Kelvin Costner's surname in Dances with Wolves, Dunbar. The first to provide Barney Rubble, dip, 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 Bell Blank. The Old Country Store can be found in the full corporate name of Cracker Barrel. The San Francisco questions, Lombard Street, if you've ever been on it or seen pictures of it, many, all it is twists and turns. The San Francisco, and there's more than one Hyatt Regency in San Francisco, but only one Hyatt Regency San Francisco. That is in the Embarcadero neighborhood of San Francisco. The boxing great was born with the name Joseph Louis Barrow. Antigua's partner as a nation is Barbuda. Bela Bartok, one of the greatest 20th century composers, was a native of Hungary. The 2 vice presidents, question 26, with B-A-R consecutively as part of their surname. Harry Truman's vice president, Alban Barkley. And luckily for New Yorkers, and well, I won't make any political statements, the other man was McKinley's first president, who didn't make it to a second term. And the New York bosses, like you read this, wanted to get rid of Theodore Roosevelt and made him vice president. And then when McKinley was shot, some New York boss famously said, Now that cowboy is president of the United States, which was not what was intended when they shipped him off to the vice presidency. Anyway, McKinley's vice president was named Garrett Hobart. But how many of you got that? You get 5 bonus points and my extreme appreciation and impressiveness or whatever. All right, now we must figure who the winners are. Will, do we want a single winner? Okay, top 3 will get something. The winner will get something even better. How many of you, this is the way Will has always done it in word games, how many of you have 10 questions right or more, 20 points or more? Good for you. 15 points or more. Really? I'm glad. I wanted you to get almost all of them, all of you. Yeah, that was the intention with all the experts on the team. How many of you have 20 questions, right? 20 points or more? All right, we will have to do this slowly. 21. Well, this is not my first rodeo, okay? 21 points or more. I didn't ask that, did I? 22 points or more. 23 points or more. 24 points or more. Wow, 25 points or more. Honorable mention, 5 bonus points if you name both vice presidents. 26 points or more. All right, if you've gotten more than 26, you would have had to get the bonus answer right. 27 points or more. How many teams are left now? 3, 2, or just, we have more than the tiebreaker. I love this. I wanted you to get them all right, and you've made my day by being so smart. Okay, a bunch, okay. Now comes into play the tiebreaker. Well, I didn't ask that. Amongst those of you that have got over 26, we will use the tiebreaker. The number of certified gold albums credited to Barbra Streisand is, hold on to your hats, 52. Read her Wikipedia article. The only person to have more album sales than Barbra Streisand is a gentleman named Elvis Presley. All right, so now you have to figure out the difference between what you wrote as a numerical answer and 52. Did any of you get it on the nose? Did any of you get it within 5? Did any of the remaining teams get it within 10? 15? What was your number? You are our winner. According to Will, we shall have but the one winner. This concludes my little tete-a-tete with you. I thank you for your kind attention, and I'm going to sit down now.
Great job. Great job, Stan. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Dan.
I've been told that everybody who is playing virtually tonight formed one giant team.
Wherever I am, you'll take me apart here, right?
He's not going to be able to see the Rich had his first Zoom meeting ever yesterday.
Oh.
Yeah, it wouldn't help if you, it would help if you.
Yeah, we can hear you, Rich. Can you hear us? Can you hear us, Rich?
Turn your speakers on. Right here. Can you hear?
I don't hear anything yet.
Oh, well, we can hear you.
Okay.
All right. Oh, I stand here. Yeah. Rich, it is good to see you. Well, let me say a few words that may embarrass you, but so as you know, and as everyone here knows, Rich Norris is the recipient this year of the Merle Regal Memorial Award for Lifetime Achievement in Crossword Construction. And this award was started by Marie Haley, who was Merle's partner, who can't be here tonight. But, and the award goes each year, is voted on. First of all, there are nominations from a wide range of crossword constructors, editors, and bloggers. And after the nominations come in, there is voting by this group. And Rich was the recipient this year, and a well-deserved one. Rich has had, just in the New York Times alone, has had 187 crosswords, one of the most published crossword constructors in the Times in history, most active in the Times from 1994 to 2003, I think. When around then he became 2008. Can't read my notes. 2008, yes. But a little before that, he became crossword editor for the Los Angeles Times, became very busy there. But in 1995, Rich had 24 puzzles in the paper all by himself, and in 2000 he had 22. As very few constructors solo constructors have had so many puzzles in the New York Times. Nowadays, it's probably impossible because that's a record that may never be broken again because the New York Times tries to have greater variety in the constructors now. The quality of Rich's grids is extraordinary. They're very clean grids, and he writes crisp clues that are dead on accurate, and often twisty in a wonderful way. Rich was also crossword editor of the Los Angeles Times for approximately 20 years, and he was also the editor for the Crosswords Club, and he's contributed to many publications. So I have a show here of a few of Rich's greatest hits, we might say. Favorite crosswords of Rich's and favorite crosswords of mine. There we go. Let's go with number one. This is Rich's very first crossword in the New York Times in 1994, and the clues for the three 15-letter answers were no runs, no hits, no errors. No runs was the clue for hosiery. Hosier's blessing. No hits was playwright's fear. And no errors was the clue for accountant's hope. Simple theme, makes you smile. It's a perfect puzzle. The next puzzle's a Sunday one from 1995 in the Times. It was called a musical quiz, and had answers, questions that are well-known song titles that were also answered elsewhere in the grid, like "Who'll Stop the Rain?" and at 12 down the answer was "Nobody I Know." And let's see, "Do you want to dance?" I forget the answer. Let's see. Do you want to dance? Rich, do you remember the answer to that? Do you want to dance? I got rhythm, yeah. And what now, my love? And the answer to that was "Let's go crazy. Funny thing, again, a beautiful construction and a funny theme, and it makes you smile. All right, number 3 is a New York Times puzzle from 1995, a Sunday one called Positive Thinking. And it has a gruntled employee, a founded rumor, it has clement weather, evitable result, ruly behavior, and an advertent mistake. Beautiful theme. And also has a handsome construction with it. Next is a puzzle from the Wall Street Journal, which is a rebus, where it's one of Rich's favorite crosswords, where a dollar sign was used to represent the word money. So in the upper right you have puts money on, crossing money pit. In the upper left you have hot money and money of account, money from home, money tree, money fun, money is no object, for lover money, money men, and so on. And you see the black squares in the middle of the grid form a giant dollar sign. Beautiful puzzle with nice vocabulary in addition. Let's do number 5. It's from the Los Angeles Times on Valentine's Day, and near the top it has Tootsie Roll. It also, to the bottom, it has Honey Badger. On the upper right, coming down, we have Babe in the Woods. Coming down at 3 is Sweetheart Deal. In the middle of, say again, Angel Falls and Sugar Daddy. In the middle of the grid is Valentine, and the black squares in the center of the grid are in the shape of a heart, called Cherish the Thought. That's beautiful. Here's a puzzle. Well, Rich is really, I think, famous for, I've shown you a theme puzzle so far, but he's famous for his themeless. And here's one that he did for the Crosswords Club in 2012. It was called Winter Workout, but it's something that's, he used that title for a themeless puzzle every year. And this has answers like, the clue was first class action. The answer was lesson 1. That was nice. Two for lunch. So the clue was for soup and sandwich. I think that's in this one. It's just a very handsome construction. When I was editing Rich's puzzles from starting in 1994, I always looked forward to Rich's puzzles because he was so easy to edit. On average, I edit about half the clues in the New York Times crossword. And this is an example of one of his pages back when the puzzles were submitted by mail. And there are hardly any clue changes here. And you'll see a lot of some crossings out. That's because Rich gave me 2 clues. So we have Pee-wee. He gave me small flycatcher, a bird of the genus Conopus, whatever. And, so if you look at the number of changes, hardly any. And that was such a joy. That's why he had so many crosswords in the New York Times, because I was always pressed for time. I thought, oh, let me take a Rich puzzle. That won't take me much time. And one more puzzle I'll show you. It's a themeless from 2002. It's just full of nice vocabulary. And Rich is famous for his, he has so many debuts in the New York Times crossword, answers that have never appeared in New York Times in grids before. So this puzzle has State Park, which was a wonderful clue. Niagara Reservation was the first one in 1885. So everyone knows State Park, but that's a great, crisp, specific clue, and you learn something from it, and you enjoy learning it. It also has Steel Town, biotests, has a row, let's see, muscle car, of course, sweat it. Those are answers that were first in my editing at the time. So it's just lots of fresh vocabulary in this puzzle. So Rich had some of his, he has debuted really hundreds of answers in the New York Times crossword, and here's some answers I think have, he debuted include I think so, glue stick, pina colada, we've met, Dame Edna, free to go. His clue for that was released. Tough clue, but perfect when you get the answer. And he is the only person so far ever to have these answers in a Times crossword: ick factor, most active, this just in, average Joe, all-nighter, and U.S. Marines. Never appeared in anybody else's puzzles but Rich. So I hope I didn't embarrass you too much, Rich. Those are some of the reasons why you're deserving of this award. But don't speak yet. We have someone who's a longtime friend and colleague of your friend, I should say, and who knows you well, who's going to say a few words of knowing about Rich, has worked with him, has known him for years, and that's Patty Verrill, who is a contestant this week.
Sorry, one moment. Sorry.
I'm not going to repeat like a whole bunch of stuff that everybody else is going to say, even though I agree with everything. What's happening?
You're good.
Okay.
Yeah, come up so we can see you.
Well,
Here, just hold this.
hold it. Okay.
There you go.
And now it's. Well, this is going great.
Sorry.
Hello.
Okay, I'll say sorry.
So now what?
He'll hear you best if you stand up here.
Sorry, online crowd gets angry.
Okay.
All right, you're all set.
Am I? Hi, Rich.
Hi, Patty.
Where am I supposed to?
You're good.
Hi.
There you are. That's much better.
Okay, cool. Everybody's going to say amazing things about Rich, deservedly so. Hi.
Yeah. You're good. Yeah, but
Okay, so.
that's you go.
Hi. We're going to start this over. I don't want to say all the same things everybody else is going to say, and which is that Rich is really fun to work with and really amazing. And I'm not going to say the same things everybody else is going to say. I want to share some crossword lessons that became life lessons that I learned from Rich Norris. And the most obvious one is that words matter and spelling counts. What we say and how we say it makes a difference. And the words that we use make a difference. You can have an ordinary expression, and the right clue and the right phrasing can transform it into something really special. You can say something that's been said a million times before, but if you say it the right way, or if you find exactly the right words, it's worth spending the time to find those right words to communicate exactly what you mean, even if it's something that's been said 1,000 times before. And the corollary of that is that my cards are out of order. The other part of with constructing a puzzle, you can get stuck, and there's always another way. You can always back out of the corner. You can always find another way to fill that corner. Maybe you need to readjust your word list. Maybe you need to change a black square. Maybe you need to move things around. And maybe you need to start all over. And that's because there's always a way, unless there isn't. Because sometimes there just isn't, and you shouldn't get attached to a particular outcome. Because if you get attached to that one outcome, you might not find the best outcome. So if you're committed to finding the best outcome, you need to be open to and flexible about what you're going to find next. And that is also part of, I think it all can be summed up with, patience is a virtue and kindness is free. You can spend the time to help somebody get to where they need to be, to find the right words, and to tell them that they're so close. Their work is almost ready. It's almost ready for prime time. It's almost ready for publication. And here's what I know and what I've learned that will take you just where you need to be. And part of that, too, is that if there isn't another way, there's always another puzzle tomorrow. And that's true as a solver, and that's true as a constructor, that there's no reason to get bogged down in, all right, I didn't like this one, but there's always another one tomorrow. So thank you very much, Rich.
That was beautiful. Thank you.
Can we undo it?
Well, now we have a short film
Sorry.
to show you
And I'm just
from
gonna
Zach Sherwin, who is the host of the Crossword show. Rich lives in Apple Valley, California, which is near Los Angeles. And Zach Sherwin lives in Los Angeles and makes short films about crosswords. He's a very funny guy, besides being a lover of crosswords. And I asked him to go to Apple Valley and talk to Rich and find out more about him.
Hello, everybody. I'm Zach Sherwin. I'm the host of the Crossword Show, and it's truly my pleasure to be here today with the winner of the 2023 Merle Memorial Award, Rich Norris. It's really good to be here with you. You know it's happening.
Okay.
What, to kick us off, is your kind of crossword origin story? Where did it all begin for you?
Began with my father. We lived in the Bronx. He had a law office in New York, in Manhattan. He took the train to work every day, and he bought the New York Times at the local newsstand, and he would start the puzzle on his way to work and on his way home, and if he didn't finish it, he'd be sitting in the living room when he came home, having his drink before dinner, finishing up the crossword. One specific thing that I remember, he was working on a puzzle in particular, and he said, "Hey, Rich, what's a 7-letter word for alcoholic beverage?" And I didn't know what alcoholic meant. So I said, "Aspirin." I think the answer turned out to be whiskey.
Well, so let's talk a little bit about your constructing. So Will Shorts described your style to me as, and I'm quoting from his email, clean, accessible grids with precise, often twisty clues. Does that feel accurate to you, that description of yourself?
Yeah, I guess. I never thought of myself as twisty. If I had my way with crosswords, I think that I would, always like to be playing with the language. But you kind of can't. You can't do it all the time.
Right.
So you have to pick your spots.
Okay, so you've published 186 puzzles in the Times.
Yeah.
Off the top of your head, do you know how many answer words you've debuted in the Times? I do have the number here.
No, I don't, but I know it's a pretty decent number.
It is a decent number. According to Edgewood Info, it's 1,098 entries from you in the paper for the first time, which is so many. I'll tell you some of my favorites. Ick Factor, Mycology, which is mushroom study,
Yeah.
is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
Darjeeling, Bug Juice, Hang Loose, Primal Scream, the list goes on and on. Is there like a sort of spidey sense that goes off for you when you encounter a word and you think, ooh, that's like something that I want to
Yes,
puzzle?
yeah. It's happened to me where I'm sitting in front of the TV and I'm watching something and it's not even something that necessarily came up, or maybe it's in the dialogue, or maybe I've read something in the paper that same day and a word pops up and I'm going, I'm going to put that in my next theme list, or see if it'll fit well in my next theme list.
Is that sort of the first step for you in constructing, that you'll hear a word and think, that's like a seed for me? How does the puzzle begin?
Puzzle begins like that. I think of a word that I just want to start with. A lot of times I want it to be one across, and it doesn't want to be one across. So when you start to fill around it, especially the puzzles that I like to do are usually like 9 and 10 letter across. I don't like to do 15 all the way across in a themeless puzzle. It's just, I don't know, it's just not as interesting to me. 9 or 10 is kind of an ideal length. 8 forces 6 on the other side. That makes constructing a little more challenging. 11 forces 3 on the other side. I don't really want to have 3s. I'm sure it's happened if you were to look at all of my work, but my favorite puzzles to start with were stacks of 9 and 10 letter words. Upper left, upper right, and then in the down positions. But there recently have been quite a number of like Saturday puzzles where you get 5 somewhat overlapping 9 or 10 letter words that are the heart of the puzzle. And sometimes I study them after I'm done with them. And I try to see like, how did they do this? Did they have this absolutely all-inclusive database and they were just able to fill it in little by computer by seeing what would work? Or are there some constructors out there who can actually do this by hand and mind?
The Merle Memorial Award is for lifetime achievement in constructing, but you also have this whole editing side to your career, so I want to talk about that a little bit. So one of your many editing credits is a book series called Martial Arts Crosswords, which includes the volumes Black Belt Crosswords and Brown Belt Crosswords. You also debuted the word Kung Fu in the New York Times in 1998. Do you have some special relationship to martial arts?
No, not at all. And however that name came about for that book, it had nothing to do with me.
And so then you edited the LA Times Crossword for 22 years, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that there was anything specific to the experience of editing a puzzle that ran in a California or an LA newspaper? Anything distinctive about that?
Only in terms of, as far as the crossword puzzle is concerned, only in terms of which way you want to steer the pop culture. There are some things, I guess, that are hard to take away from, to clue outside of New York. But, I don't know if there's a famous Madison Avenue anywhere else.
You're wearing a t-shirt that says, "My cat thinks I'm cool."
Well, I was a cat owner in New York, but not the same way as we've been since I met Kim and came out here.
What is your current cat name?
Current cat is Squeaky.
Squeaky. Have you ever put Squeaky into a puzzle?
No, I don't think I have.
Okay.
It'd be great. I think it might even be on my list.
Can you give us a quick thumbnail sketch of what your history as a piano player has been?
I went away to college at Brandeis I was there for a year and a half and basically flunked out. And when I came home, there were my friends were all either away at school or involved with us something else, and I really didn't have people to hang out with to waste my time. I sat down at the piano and I found some music in the piano bench, and I could read music, and I started playing and fiddling around with it. And from that point on, it was self-taught.
I think one thing that people might be interested to know about you, that they might not know, is that your email font is Comic Sans.
I like the way it looks. And it's easy to read, and it's 12, the size is 12 point. And sometimes people would say, "Gee, I'm surprised you're using Comic Sans." Like it's not a favored font, and I don't really know why. Comic books are just too basic, too simple. Are they beneath us? Because we crossword people are really intellectual people, and we're up here, and Comic Sans is somewhere down here.
It definitely occupies a special place.
I'm trying to bring it up.
Yeah. Rich Norris, Comic Sans,
Yeah.
You heard it here. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us.
You're welcome.
It's really a pleasure to get to know you, and congratulations on winning the award this year.
Sure. Thank you very much.
Well, in past years, Marie Haley has been here at the tournament in person to present the
award. I'm afraid she couldn't come this year. So, Rich, we will be mailing you a prize, but here is a poster that Marie had made. It's got, okay, let me show it to you. Can you see it? Yeah. So it's a big poster. It's got a Merle Regal caricature sitting in a wing chair with scrabbled with letter tiles around, and it says Rich Norris Lifetime Achievement Crossword Construction 2023 Memorial Award, and we will mail this to you. So congratulations. And I will let you have the last word if there is anything you would like to say.
It's more than a word. First, I would like to still thank Marie. I wish she'd been able to be here to present the award. It's a great honor to receive it, and it's a great honor to receive an award that memorializes Merle, who I think is one of the most gifted, versatile, and loved people in Crossword history. To be honest, when Will wrote me and asked me to nominate someone for this year's award, I had almost forgotten it was an annual ceremony. My wife Kim and I hadn't made the trip to ACPT in a few years, and off the top of my head, I could probably only have named three or four former Merle Award recipients. But as he so often does, Will was a step ahead, actually sometimes 2 or 3 steps. He listed the former winners in his email to me and to the rest of the nominating team, and I think for 2 reasons. So we'd know the caliber of people who would receive the award, and so we wouldn't unknowingly nominate someone who already received it. The former awardees were all my idols, and there aren't too many of them, so I'm going to list them. Maura Jacobson, Manny Masowski, Nancy Solomon, Mike Schenk, Patrick Berry, Emily Cox, and Henry Rafton. So a week or so later, when Will told me I'd been nominated, it took me a while to grasp even the reality of that. These former winners were the greats of our craft. And I don't think of myself in that way. I mean, I know I did a lot of good work as a constructor and as an editor, but it just never dawned on me that I could receive something like this. Because in fairness, even though my name is now attached to the prize, this isn't just my award. It also belongs to all the people who have pushed or inspired me throughout my crossword career. That starts with my dad, crossword lover, who did Margaret Farrer's New York Times puzzle every day. Then there's Will Shorts, who I really can't say enough about. He's a great all-around guy, a great editor and teacher. And Will, I learned so much from you, sometimes just by watching. I thank all the newspaper editors who published my work, notably Mike Schenk and Stanley Newman. I thank all the people who I worked with, both as constructor and editor, the various staffs of the Los Angeles Times, and later the Chicago Tribune, which still syndicates the LA Times puzzle. I'd name names, but I'm afraid I'd leave people out. So everyone covers it. The one name I do want to mention is Jack Barrett. Jack is the managing editor of the Tribune, and in our last phone conversation, he said some of the nicest things about me and my work with Tribune. I only wish I'd recorded the conversation so I could replay it whenever I need an ego boost. Thanks to the staff at the Crosswords Club. Thanks to people who assisted me when I was Los Angeles Times editor. My loyal assistant, Patty Barrow, who you just heard from. She tested most of my puzzles and she edited during my vacation. Tester and friend Nancy Schuster, fact-checkers Bob Klon and Bill Butler. Bill has his own blog from the Los Angeles Times in case you want to check it out. Extra thanks to Patty, who recommended me for the Crosswords Club editing job and deservedly is now the LA Times crossword editor. And a very special thanks to Joyce Lewis, who didn't know me other than by reputation when she hired me to be the LA Times editor. And saving the best for last, Kim Taylor. It's my wife. We met at ACPT in 2003, married 5 years later. She's an excellent puzzle solver in her own right. She has a wonderful sense of humor. She's a great cook, a very good golfer, and after being tutored by Hex, that's Henry and Emily, that I mentioned earlier, on the cryptic forum, she taught me how to do cryptics, which added a huge dimension to my solving enjoyment over the years. And last but certainly not least, everyone here this weekend, every one of you, it's common knowledge that authors ultimately owe everything to their readers. Similarly, we constructors and editors wouldn't get very far without our scholars, and here you are. There are thousands more like you out there somewhere, but for tonight, you represent them, and I thank you. Thank you for solving, thank you for smiling, I hope, when you're finished, and even if we've never met, that makes my day, every day. Happy solving to you all, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Wow, thank you. Thank you, Rich.
That was
amazing.
Ooh,
Ooh,
thank you, Patty. Thank you, Rich. And brings tears to my eyes. Thank you, Rich. That's our program tonight. Sleep well. First round is at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Oh, wow. Jesus. Yeah. It's not here.
Oh, but we'll get it eventually.
I assume, but I didn't want to promise it. I think so, but I didn't want to promise it because he has to. She'll get the she'll get the poster.
Let's go.
Will,
Yeah, yeah.
Can you
What?
show the plaque to the camera? And
Ah,
You put it over there.
thank you.
Damn, I need to remind you of everything.
Oh, I have another photo I would really like you. You'll be around a couple minutes?
Yeah.
There's something in the storeroom. I would love you to photograph. It's fantastic.
Okay.
Yeah. So stick around a minute.
Okay.
We're ready? Good, 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 good. Just like to show you this poster that Rich is going to get that Marie Haley made. It shows a caricature of Merle in a chair surrounded by books and swirling letters, and it says Rich Norris, Lifetime Achievement Crossword Construction 2023 Memorial Award. And Rich is going to get this. All right. Oh, we'll get the prizes. Yeah, yeah. So it's been great, everyone who's listening, virtual solvers. Thank you for participating, and I hope to see you tomorrow morning. Yeah.
Otherwise, people are busy.
If you want a prize tonight, come on up and take a book. There you go.
If you want a prize tonight, come up and take a book.